What's happening, road dogs and highway hounds? I think I'm live. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I think I'm live. No, so I'm gonna just kind of go over, get some light on the subject, which is me. So I just watched that deal with Tone Vays and Roger Ver, and it's important to be objective. A lot of people aren't objective. They just let their emotions get the best of them, and it's very important that we don't do that. Especially Roger's not in rare form. I mean, he is in rare form, but kind of turns you off when you watch it. But he's a very knowledgeable guy, and the censorship issue that he brings up is a big deal. I don't really like censorship, and I think that this is not an altcoin. This is how to go forward, and we need to have as much information as possible. But the first thing I want to bring up is Roger feels that his early adoption gives him a level of credibility that the rest of us don't have. But Satoshi, whoever he is, I've often wondered if Roger Ver was Satoshi. You don't know. But even if he is Satoshi for whatever reason, gave up the ownership. Maybe, Roger was scared of going to prison, or I don't know. I don't even want to say that he's Satoshi. But even Satoshi can't control Bitcoin. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. It's yours and it's mine. And and Tone's not, he knows a lot about it, but he's not a coder, and he's not an engineer and all that kind of stuff. I'm a little unclear on Roger's level. Seems to be a bit higher than Tone's, but that's okay. Tone's opinion is still relevant. And when you watch this, it's kind of like the way he, oh shoot, I was going to invite Adam Meister, but I don't think he's on here. But anyway, I'll just plug on forward. Sorry, Adam, I was going to invite you, but you never responded, and I figure you're somewhere across the world, so you're probably sleeping now or busy. But he talks about, Roger criticizes Tone about appealing to authority, and that's what we all have to do. We all appeal to authority. What's wrong with that? The authority of people who know more than we do. But just because we don't know the technical sides of it doesn't mean we can't have an opinion. And I think new people have an equal say. Satoshi gave it up to all of us. Roger acts like we shouldn't have the input. And I understand a little bit of that because, the originally Bitcoin's block size was unlimited, but there was problems that were arising from it being unlimited. People were spamming the network with bogus transactions, and it was clogging it up. It was causing a problem. So they limited the size of the block size. And my question is, I think if it was a problem then, why wouldn't it be a problem now with legitimate transactions? It's a problem. It's definitely a problem, or it was. And I don't know how he thinks that that's not going to be a problem now. And I would like that answered. But, Tone, if you're watching, I know you're a subscriber. Hopefully you can shed some light on some of these questions. I think Bitcoin and Litecoin could be large-scale transactions. Yeah, I think I've kind of always felt this way, that Bitcoin and Litecoin, they're so similar, but I think that there's a limit to what they're going to be able to do. You're not going to be able to pay for your coffee with it. And I think that's kind of where I come up with that nickel coin idea, because I see that coming, and I've seen that coming. And maybe they can scale it. Maybe they can make it be all things to all people. But that's why I like Litecoin so much, is because like things like right now, there's transaction problems with Bitcoin, and they're real. But you can use Litecoin instead of Bitcoin right now, just to make sure that things go through. And why not have a silver to Bitcoin's gold? Now, Roger kind of diminishes the idea that it's a hard fork. He says something about, it's just a system upgrade. But no, it's not. It would be a hard fork, because right at this current time, I'm not in favor of Bitcoin Unlimited for the reasons that I just said, that it was a problem before. So why wouldn't it be a problem now? Why wouldn't it be a problem? That was a question that wasn't answered. And I don't think it was articulated very well. What are the problems that they're trying to solve? He talks about 100,000 Bitcoins voted, $120 million worth voted, and they don't support the core roadmap. That could be a very small amount of elite holders like Coinbase. And it maybe Roger's not the holder, but the people at Coinbase are mainly early adopters. And I think most of the holdings of Bitcoin are from early adopters. And we're all early adopters and whatnot, but that's another reason why I like Litecoin, is because it gives those of us who weren't around when it was $3, and like I was around, but I wasn't too keen on the idea of this computer money. Now I understand it a little bit better, and I don't want people like Roger Ver, and it's no big deal. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be able to keep up, and that's why I like the silver to Bitcoin's gold concept. Just it helps on even distribution of cryptocurrency. It's not that I like Litecoin so much, but it's silver to Bitcoin's gold, and there's very basic math that I can do. 1 to 4, 1/4 of a Bitcoin is a Litecoin, and like I think I just did a Bitcoin Litecoin ratio the other day, and it's right now it's trading at 1 to 300. It's good odds for me. I like that. So that's why I put my money into Litecoin, because I think it appeals to people who are latecomers, and so and it gives us a way to keep up, but something that I don't like is it's always the people like Roger and Tone, and that want only Bitcoin to be used, and I don't get that. I mean, I get it. I mean, if I was sitting on a mountain of Bitcoins, which some people can consider not a lot of Bitcoin, which I would consider a lot. So I don't know how much Tone has, but I'm sure it's significant. And this whole thing is an evolution. It's just like I think about. I'm kind of I like history, and I think about the Constitution in the United States and the formation of the government, You know, you hear things like people talk about practicing medicine, practicing law. It's because it's a work in progress, and that's what I see Bitcoin is. It's a work in progress. It's going down the road, and you know, like when Satoshi originally had an unlimited block size, uh, he didn't see the problem of people spamming the network and attacking it in that way. And so when that problem presented itself, they evolved into this limiting the block size um, as a solution to that problem. And and there was a reason for that. They found a problem and they solved it. And now, for some reason, it's not a problem, which I have a huge problem with that, because if it was a problem before, it's probably going to be a problem again. So until that's answered, I'm on the SegWit side. And I mentioned that I'm concerned about the whole miners mining issue, and with the miners, it I've heard that Bitcoin Unlimited kind of favors them and will give them more power, which I don't know how that works out because I'm not technical, but that concerns me. That's another reason why I'm leery of this Bitcoin Unlimited. Um, there's a lot of money on the line. Roger said that I have a lot of money on the line. Why don't you diversify out in Litecoin? Makes sense to me. Diversification, it's a basic investing principle, and those things keep you safe in case something does go wrong with Bitcoin. And it could go wrong with Bitcoin, and it doesn't have to be programming. It could be something as divisive as this thing, and people could just lose faith in it, and why would you want to have all your eggs in that basket? If you're in the crypto space, why not go 50-50, the crypto gold and the crypto silver? That's kind of why I support Litecoin so much. It's long standing, it's proven, and it's just why there's a lot of money on the line. Well, why don't you cut it in half and not have so much? But that's fine, because I don't really want the price to go up. So I'm not going to try and talk you into it too much, but that's why I do what I do. Why was the block size limited in the first place? Why is it not a problem now? I pretty much already talked about that. Litecoin SegWit is about a month old. Now Tone said something about that, and Roger was like, well, why isn't it being supported? It's 20, I think I looked, it was 22%, 25%, somewhere around in there, support for SegWit on Litecoin. But I also remember seeing someplace that an interview with a big miner, and he was saying something about, we're not going to do it right now. We're going to wait until like March. So this is only a month old in Litecoin, and I don't know what all is involved on the miners' end. The cost involved, or why they would wait, or anything like that. But I've heard miners say that they're going to wait. They're not just going to do it right away. So the signaling, whatever that entails, there is a reason for miners to take their time with it. So so censorship on Reddit. He was talking about that. Censorship sucks, and I don't like it. But there's more than Reddit as a venue to get your word out. And this is kind of a criticism I have of both Roger Ver and Charlie Lee, is they spend all their time on Reddit, but the world is bigger than Reddit. I don't have time to read Reddit. Tone Vays says he doesn't have time to read Reddit. A lot of people don't sit on their computer all day long and can just sit there and look all this stuff up. So why not branch out? You're going to need my support. If you're going to do this, you're going to need to convince the truck drivers and the farmers and everybody needs to be on board. Bitcoin, it belongs to all of us. It's not Roger Ver's. It's not Coinbase's. You need to, do the Reddit thing, do the, Twitter thing, do the Facebook thing, do all the stuff, do the YouTube thing, do some interviews on the YouTube, because you need more than just the Reddit users to agree to this. But yeah, the censorship, I've heard people complaining. Mainly, I've heard people like Coinbase and Roger Ver complaining about it, and yeah, they just are being mistreated over, or they feel they're being mistreated. And the thing is, if you're on Reddit, go to RBTC. I would. That's where I'd get my stuff. If they're being difficult on our Bitcoin on Reddit, yeah, go to RBTC. Why not? I like freedom. I think we all do. That's why we're in this space. So I want to hear all sides of it. But I'd really like to hear it better from people like me, because I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm just voicing my opinion, and I'm doing it on the YouTube. And that's what people need to, those guys need to get off of just Reddit. You need to come on YouTube. You need to go on Adam Meister and wherever. That was good on Tone. Tone's putting the stuff out, because we wouldn't hear it if it wasn't. And I would subscribe to Tone Vays' channel. Tone Vays is a good guy. He's one of a handful of people that I trust on YouTube. And Andreas Antonopoulos, I like Charlie Lee. He seems to be honest. He released his coin fairly, Litecoin, which is a rare thing in the crypto space, is to release your coin fairly. We should all know that. I don't think we all do. But something about segregated witness that I like is the on-ramps and off-ramps. And from my understanding, my very basic understanding, is that it provides ways to, the Bitcoin blockchain is clogged up. Let's complete the transactions on Litecoin. And, and I don't know how they would do all that kind of stuff, but, it's a way to do it. And that's kind of why I talk about that nickel coin, because I see these problems coming up. And things like Ethereum. If you don't know, Ethereum was released unfairly, I think. It's not think, it was. And there was a pre-mine, and 80% of the entire supply was released to insiders. And those insiders, you got to believe, were at Coinbase, and they ended up putting that untested crypto on their exchange, trying to give it legitimacy, in my opinion, to bump up their holdings, to bump up the price in their holdings. And they did, and it worked. And that's kind of why I like the nickel coin idea. Is like, okay, well, let's all get together as Joe Blow, me, and you, and say, hey man, Dash has got some cool things. It was pre-mined. That's a problem, so it's ruled out. But let's come up with this nickel coin, and after, Litecoin, this 5 years down the road, whatever. But after all this new development comes up, and just because Ethereum was a crappy release, there's good things about it. Just because Litecoin, or Dash has got some problems. It's got some really cool attributes to it. So you trust some people like Tone Vays, like Andreas Antonopoulos, like Charlie Lee, some people with proven track records that are trustworthy and know what they're talking about. And maybe Tone's not quite up to par on the technical side, so maybe he shouldn't be one of the leaders. But he's got a voice, and I got a voice. So yeah, I mean, he can do stuff like that. But I think it's really good to have Andreas Antonopoulos and Charlie Lee on there because they're technically proficient enough to wade through the muck and the mire. But how often do you use Bitcoin? That kind of irked me off. I kind of felt like a kid on the playground through this, and Roger comes off really badly, and I'm not, and I'm trying to help you, brother. I mean, it's like because I think you're valuable, so I'm not trying to discredit you, man. But it's like I felt myself kind of felt like I thought about when I was a kid we played kickball. We get one of them big orange balls, and we'd go out in the field and we'd roll that ball, and we'd kick the ball, and play it like baseball. I feel like it's Roger's ball. He brought the ball to the game or something like that. And it's like, and he's sitting there and he's arguing with Tone, and he's like, "This is my ball. I'm going to make the rules, and this is, I use Bitcoin. I use this kickball more than you do, so you don't know, I'm making, it's just like," and then you just kind of want to side with Tone and be like, "Roger, shut up, or I'm going to take that ball from you." Yeah, it's just, it seemed very childish, but you can't let that lose the credibility with what he's saying because he's very passionate, but you got to keep your passion in check there, buddy, because it just turns people off. And Tone was trying to help you out, and I think Tone was very respectful through that whole thing, and I don't necessarily think you were. Sorry, that's the way I interpret it, and it's not helping your argument at all. But everybody objectives because it's lay people like most of us. But how often do you use Bitcoin? I don't use it. I go to the hobo stand, and I want to go buy a hobo sandwich, and well, they don't take it. I go get my gas, they don't take it. And I don't really want to give it up. I want to hoard it. Just, it's a deflationary currency. It's the better money. I want to hold more of it. I want to get more of it. And I don't really want to give any of it away. Which could be a problem for Bitcoin because I think most people are going to want to hoard it. And Roger, you're being a little overly dramatic, I think. You say you're terrified by all this. It's like, come on, man. That's, Charlie Lee called me Litecoin Jesus. So from Litecoin Jesus to Bitcoin Jesus, I think you just need to diversify into Litecoin if you're so terrified of this whole thing. And I think we all should diversify into Litecoin. That's why I named my channel Bitcoin and Litecoin, because I saw this stuff coming. And don't be too scared by this whole debate because it's been going on for a long time. It's very passionate. You might think the wheels are going to fall off the train, but I think Roger's being overly dramatic, that he's terrified about this whole thing. He's smarter than that, but he's trying to manipulate your emotions, and be objective and realize that. That's really all I got to say. So I'll talk to you guys later. Give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe, check out Tone's channel. Put a link in the description below. Yeah, sorry, I wish I knew how to use the old chat box, but I don't. But I'll be I'll be reading the comments, and I'd love to hash the stuff out. If you got anything important to add, which I know I got a lot of smart guys on here on this channel, and if you got some stuff to add, please write it in the comments below, and uh, I'll try and figure out how to pin it up to the top. If it's a good comment full of information. But yeah, discussion in the comments below about this stuff. But that's all I got to say for now. Adios, muchachos.